So let's review what we've been talking about volume. So we have learned that volume means to fill. And we've looked at things like a laundry basket and maybe filling it with clothes. And we talked about the fact that you start with a bottom layer of clothes and then you fill it up to the certain height. We've also talked about things like a glass and filling that with juice. So we start with a layer of juice on the bottom and then we multiply that by the height. So we came up with a strategy that worked pretty well. We found in our Desmos activity the volume of any prism or cylinder is going to be the area of the base, the first layer, times the height. Now, in our Desmos activity today, we talked about you had to choose the figures that could use this strategy to find the volume. And there were only a few people that got it right. This is a common answer that I saw. Most people chose figure A, C, and E, and I totally understand why. Because, first of all, figure A is a rectangular prism, and we know that from last year, length times width times height, area of the base is length times width times height. We're very familiar with that, so that was good if you chose that. Then a lot of people realized that C and E were both cylinders, and so they realized that you could find the volume by taking the area of the circle, pi r squared times, which is the base, times the height. And so that was good. By the way, some people did not choose E. Please make sure you realize, even though this is lying on its side, the base is on the right side there. So be careful with your prisms and cylinders. Sometimes the base is not at the top and the bottom. All right, so A, C, and E are definitely three figures you could use this strategy for. The problem is, this is not the correct answer. The correct answer was only found by 3 people, unless there's someone who hasn't done their assignment yet. And here's the correct answer. These 4 figures, we can find the volume by using this strategy, the area of the base times the height. We've already talked about A, C, and E. What about F? How is F anything like A, C, and E? How can we use the same strategy? Well, let's take a closer look at it. Here's a closer look at figure F. The first thing we want to figure out is, what is the name of this figure even? We talked about 3D figures. What is the name of this figure? All right, so the name of this figure comes from the base, which is a pentagon, and the base, of course, is right here. And the fact that it's a prism because it has 2 equal bases, the one in the front and one in the back. Remember, we are not, this is the base, by the way. Remember, we are not always placing the prism on the base on the bottom. Sometimes the base is the front and the back. Sometimes the bases are the left and the right side. So if this is the base, this is the pentagon base, how in the world are we going to use this formula to find the volume? We need to find the area of that base. Well, let's take a look. If I gave you these dimensions, all right, I didn't give you all of them, but I gave you enough. See if you can find, not see if you can find, I want you to find the area of the base. So we would start by looking at the rectangular part of the pentagon, and that would be 5 times 3. Remember, the 3 back here is the same for the back and the front edge there. Then we would have to find the area of the triangular part, which would be 1/2 base times height. Now remember, the 5 is also the length of the base of that triangle. So 1/2 5 times 2 is 5. Now, when we put those two together, the area of the entire pentagon is going to be 20 square inches. We add the 5 and the 15 to get the 20. Well, we're already almost there. We've got the area of the base. Now the question is, I need the height. So how do I find the height of this figure? Where is the height? Well, I hadn't give you that dimension. It's right here. It's right here. Would you have thought? How is that the height? Well, it's the distance between the bases. And remember, the bases are in the front and the back this time. So 6 inches then is the height in this case. Now, with the area of the base being 20 square inches and the height being 6 inches, you need to find the volume of this figure. Remember, we're using the same strategy that we used for cylinders and rectangular prisms. We have to take the area of the base times the height. So the area of the base is 20, the height is 6. So the volume is 20 times 6, which is 120 inches cubed. All right. So we can find the volume of any prism or cylinder using the same method. Even if the base is the shape of a pentagon, if the base is the shape of a rectangle, if the base is the shape of a triangle, if the two bases are the shape of a hexagon, we can find the volume of that prism. If that is true, let's look at the figure. This is a triangular prism. Using what we just talked about, think about how you're going to find the volume of this prism. Remember, you're going to have to take the area of the base and multiply it times the height. Again, be careful about the base. This figure is not sitting on its base. The base is not the bottom in this case. So we would just have to find the area of that triangle and multiply it times the height. Okay, so this is what you are going to be working on. You are going to be finding the volume of some more figures. All of the figures you're going to be finding the volume of can use the same strategy. Area of the base times the height. Now, I'll remind you of a few things. What's next? If you go back to Google Classroom, you will find your link to your Desmos activity. It's the remainder of the activity you started yesterday. Please do that thoughtfully. And then there will be a seesaw assignment, again, similar to what you did yesterday, just a couple of problems. And so it should take you maybe another 15 or 20 minutes. Please do it carefully. Again, you can use a calculator, but please show all of your steps for your seesaw assignment. Now, here are a few things to remember about learning, distance learning. First of all, you are responsible for your learning. I am not there to hold your hand. I am not there to direct your attention back to what you need to be looking at. You can look back at any of the videos and you can rewatch them over and over. You also, remember, can search the internet for anything that might help you. Another example, another problem, another Khan Academy has videos, whatever you need. You're the one that's going to have to find some more examples or explanations. And also, you can do this. You are not allowed to just put in, I don't know. I've given you the answers to many of these problems. If you don't get the answer with your steps, then you need to go back, you need to rewatch the videos, you need to search the internet, you need to figure it out. You can find me on the Google Meet from 9 to 11 tomorrow, this morning, or you can email me, but you can find pretty much all the information you need to do this work. All right, take on the next activity.